So I'm going to tell you a story about someone you might have not heard of, and that is Jethro. Now, Jethro is the father-in-law of Moses. That would mean that he is the father of Moses' wife. Moses was married to a woman named Zipporah, and Jethro was her father. Although he's also called Isreal at one place, so maybe he just had multiple names that he goes by. But we actually first come across him a little bit after Moses meets his wife Zipporah for the first time. Now, when Moses first meets Zipporah, it's when he's fleeing out of Egypt to get away from Pharaoh. He goes off to Midian, and he comes across a well. And at this well, there are these 7 ladies, these 7 sisters, and they are there getting water to go take back to their father's flocks. When some shepherds show up, and they see the ladies there getting the water, and they're like, "Hey, you girls, get out of the way. We got to get water. We are great shepherds here, and we have flocks that need water." And they just push the sisters out of the way. Moses sees this, and it makes Moses angry. Now, Moses is someone, when he sees someone doing something bad to someone, he will almost always intervene on it there. Acting on something like that is what had gotten him in trouble in Egypt and was actually the very reason that he had to leave. But he sees this happen, and he goes up to those shepherds. He's like, "Excuse me, gentlemen. Now, as I saw it, these ladies here were here getting water before all of you. And I think that you all need to get out of the way and let them finish getting their water." And Moses goes up there, and he's pretty stern about it. And the shepherds look at him, and they're like, "Man, we don't really want to mess with this guy." And they're like, "All right, fine, whatever. Let the girls have the water. Wow." And they go, and they grumble and leave. And so, yeah, he ran these guys off so that the sisters could get water. And they all go back home with the water. And their father, Jethro / Ruel, he's like, "Wow, y'all got home early today." And they're like, "I know. We had some shepherds come up and were hassling us about wanting water, but this guy came out and he ran them off." Like, he ran them off? "Yeah, and then not only did he run them off, he like drew the water for us, helped us get the water so we could come back up here." And like, well, where is this guy? And they're like, "I don't know. I guess he's still at the well. I mean, that's where he was when we left." "What, you didn't bring him with you?" "Well, no, didn't." "Well, why didn't you do that?" "We didn't really think we needed to. I mean, we said thanks. Isn't that enough?" And it's like, no. Go back and get that man. Find him. Bring him here. He's going to eat with us tonight. I want to thank this man for being so kind to my daughters. And so they go and they find Moses and they bring him back, and he eats dinner with them that night. And that is how Moses met his wife Zipporah. He tends the sheep there for his father-in-law, and he does that until God tells him that it's time to go back to Egypt to free his people. And Moses leaves his wife there with his father-in-law for him to take care of her while Moses is doing this. So once Pharaoh frees all the Hebrews and Moses leads them out of Egypt, word gets back to Jethro about what has happened. And he hears that they got out of Egypt. And he hears that they're safe and free. And so Jethro decides it's time for me to go back and find Moses. So Jethro shows up at the Israelite camp. And Moses runs out to greet him because he's so excited. He hasn't seen Jethro or Zipporah for so long. And he meets them. Jethro comes out and he says, "I've heard that you got out of Egypt, that you were safe." And Moses says, "Yes, it's been amazing what God has done for us. Here, let me come and tell you." So they go to Moses' tent, and Moses tells Jethro everything that had happened since he had seen him last. How God had led them out of Egypt, and how when Pharaoh had come after them again, he had delivered them again at the Red Sea, and also kept them safe there in the wilderness up to this point. And Jethro hears all of it, and he is amazed. He tells Moses, "This is a mighty and wonderful God that you have." He's done so much for you. I hear all these things that he's done. He is much more powerful than these other gods that these other people worship. And that is an amazing thing there, because Jethro wasn't a Hebrew. He wasn't from them. He didn't grow up worshiping this God. He was introduced to him through Moses. So this is an amazing thing that he is so moved by this. That night they had a big dinner. Moses had Aaron, his brother, and all of the elders of Israel come and meet there, and they all ate with Jethro that night, it says, in the presence of God. So the next day, it's back to just another normal day. Back to what Moses has been doing every day. Back to the daily grind. And so what is Moses' daily grind? Well, amongst the Hebrews there are a lot of people. I mean, a lot. We're talking thousands and thousands of people. So what happens when you have thousands and thousands of people together? Well, one thing that happens is they don't always get along. And yeah, this is what's happening there with the Israelites. They don't always get along. There's disputes, there's arguments. And so somebody has to play mediator and resolve all of these disputes. And whose job is it to mediate all of these disputes? It's Moses' job. Yep, Moses sits in front of the people. They form this massive, massive line. And all day the people come to Moses with their disputes, one after another, just all day long, coming to him with their problems. And it goes something like this. Okay, let's see. Who do we have next here? You have the two of us. Okay, so tell me what's going on. Well, he wants me to give him the money back on an axe that I sold him. Yeah, I want you to give me the money back because the axe broke. What were you doing when it came apart? Well, I was chopping a tree with it. Well, there you go. You see, he was hitting it too hard. How can you hit it too hard? It's an axe. You're supposed to use it to chop wood. And they're arguing, and Moses is like, okay, look, you give him the broken axe back. You give him the money back. There you go. Y'all are done. Okay. Who's next here? He killed my goat. Yeah, well, I killed it and I ate it. Well, why'd you kill his goat? Well, I thought it was one of mine. Why did you think it was one of yours? I don't know, it was in my area. Yeah, but my goats are different colors than yours. Hey, it was in my pen, it was one of my goats. And they argue, and Moses is like, okay, you just give him one of your goats to take the place of the one that you killed and ate. Okay. Who's next? He hit me. What? Yeah, I hit him. Well, why'd you hit him? Because he called me a big stupid head. What, did you call him a big stupid head? Well, yeah, I called him a big stupid head. But that didn't mean he needed to hit me. It's like, oh, okay, look, you apologize to him for calling him a stupid head. And you apologize to him for hitting him. And it is just this all day long. People just keep coming. There is no break for Moses. There are so many people and so many problems. And at the end of the day, Moses is just going back to his tent and Moses is just dragging. He's just like, oh, man. And Jethro, who's been watching all this, he's just like, Moses, what are you doing? Why do you stay up there just all day doing this, Moses? And he says, well, people come to me to seek God's will. I have to do this. I have to be the one to tell them that, and I have to give them God's decrees and God's instructions. And Jethro says, Moses, the way that you are doing this is not good. These people are going to keep coming. They're just going to come at you all the time and it's not going to stop. They are going to wear you out. You're going to wear each other out. This is too much for one person to do by themselves, Moses. Moses, I'm going to give you some advice. And with God's help, I think that you can do this. You do need to be the one. You are the one that God has chosen to tell everyone this. But you don't have to do it alone by yourself, Moses. You need to find men that you trust, and put them in charge of groups. Put some in charge of thousands, and some in charge of hundreds, and some in charge of 50s, and some in charge of 10s. Now these need to be trustworthy men that you know truly will follow God and aren't going to do this for their own personal gain. You have them be the ones that these disputes are brought to initially. Have them deal with all of it. Have them deal with the routine ones. Then just the really hard cases that they can't figure out, they send up, and those eventually get to you. And then you're only dealing with the really difficult ones. But if you do this, it'll make your load lighter because you're going to share it with everyone else. If you do this, and if this is what God wants you to do, this will work so much better for you. You won't be worn out, and everyone else will be happier. And Moses thinks about this, and he decides, yeah, this is a good idea. And Moses did exactly what Jethro had suggested. All the other men out there served as judges and would deal with the routine things, and then just the really hard, difficult ones would work their way up to Moses. And at some point after this, Jethro leaves and goes back home because that's where he lives and where his sheep are. But we see Jethro came in here for a bit and gave Moses a suggestion that was really a great important thing for him. Moses would never have gotten all of this done without doing what he did there, putting others in charge of it. It would have just worn him out. The other people would have been mad because as Moses started getting more and more tired of the people coming in, they would have started getting more and more tired of him, and the whole thing would have gone bad. And so the big lesson that we can take out of this story is that it's okay to ask others for help. You don't have to do everything by yourself. Moses was out there and he knew that God wanted him to help solve all the disputes amongst everybody there. And so he just went out and he tried to do all of it, and he tried to do all of it by himself, and it was way too much for one person. But once he got other people to help him, they were able to share, and they were able to get other people to help him, and it went so much better. And so when you get overwhelmed and when there's things that you can't figure out how you're going to be able to do it, you can ask others for help. You can ask others for advice. And so it's okay to ask others for help, and it's okay to ask God for help. You should always do that. And just remember that when you're working with others, you could get so much more done than what you could ever do by yourself. And when you're working with God, you could do way more than you could ever accomplish on your own.